Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Thursday, December 22nd, 2022. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's Lone College Football Bowl game, and we'll look ahead to the bowl game tonight, which is the Armed Forces Bowl. We have college basketball, NBA, and NHL. Let's talk about look ahead to every game being played today. And then we have Thursday night football between the Jaguars and the Jets, news and notes, and my best bet of the day. All right, we'll start college football today. We'll change things up. We'll go over the bowl result from yesterday and look ahead to the games being played, or the game being played tonight. So, Western Kentucky destroys South Alabama 44-23. I was way wrong with this on the New Orleans Bowl. Western finishes 9-5. USA finishes 10-3. Western quarterback Austin Reed, 36 of 55, 497 yards, 4 touchdowns to the pick. And Carter Bradley, 36 of 53, 360 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. So 7:30 on ESPN tonight, you have the Armed Forces Bowl between Baylor and Air Force. My projection from Fort Worth is Air Force by 3, total 50 and 3/5. And it is, let's see here. Baylor by 3.5, total 43.5. So the line went from Baylor 5.5 to 3.5, so there are a couple points moving in favor of Air Force. So the question is, do I go with Air Force getting the points, or do I go with the over? So the over, I have is over 7-point differential on. And for Air Force, it's about 6.5. So for the pick of the podcast, I like the over. I think that both these teams could get into the 20s. So over 43.5, I think, is a reasonable pick for this game. All right, now we'll move on to college basketball. We'll recap the games from yesterday, which was a very busy slate. And we'll look ahead to tonight's games, which is a little bit of a smaller window, I think. So, Coppin State beats James Madison 107-100 in double overtime. Morehead State over Alice Lloyd 66-50. Georgia State beats Toccoa Falls 91-52. Liberty beats Mid-Atlantic Christian 88-50. Western Michigan beats Siena Heights 61-41. La Tech beats Jarvis Christian 102-52 or 108-52. Valpo beats Stonehill 77-67. Northeastern beats Davidson 73-70. St. Thomas beats North Dakota State 78-68. South Alabama beats Jacksonville State 77-66. Drake beats St. Ambrose 124-48. William & Mary beats Randolph 90-56. UNC Wilmington beats Campbell 74-66. Howard beats Mount St. Mary's 63-62. Lafayette beats LaSalle 90-65. Duquesne beats Winthrop 74-57. Texas Tech beats Houston Christian 111-67. Kansas State beats Radford 73-65. Texas State beats Science and Arts 87-72. Georgia beats Chattanooga 72-65. Eastern Illinois upsets Iowa 92-83. North Alabama beats William Baptist 83-45. UMass Lowell beats BU 68-60. Old Dominion beats George Mason 78-77. Number 13 UCLA beats UC Davis 81-54. Nevada beats Norfolk State 78-66. Number 8 Tennessee beats Austin Peay 86-44. Buffalo beats Canton 129-62. East Carolina beats High Point 60-49. Santa Barbara beats App State 61-50. BC beats number 21 Virginia Tech 70-65 in overtime. Villanova beats St. John's 78-63. Michigan State beats Oakland 67-54. Number 19 Kentucky beats FAMU 88-68. Abilene Christian beats Howard Payne 113-52. Youngstown State beats Central Michigan 76-65. Robert Morris beats San Fran PA 77-66. Ohio beats Stellar 95-76. Niagara beats Binghamton 73-67. Middle Tennessee beats Murray State 83-67. FAU beats Northern Kentucky 67-52. Cincinnati beats Detroit 72-54. Mercer beats Troy 82-79. FAU beats Incarnate Word 79-74. Ball State beats Georgia Southern 58-54. Cleveland State beats Mount St. Joseph 78-48. UCF beats Stetson 73-58. VCU beats Navy 74-52. Northern Iowa beats St. Bonaventure 62-52. Richmond beats Bucknell 81-71. Brown beats New Hampshire 67-51. Florida Gulf Coast beats Canisius 84-81. Colorado beats Southern Utah 86-78. Cal beats Texas Arlington 73-51. North Carolina beats Michigan 80-76. Southern Illinois beats Southeast Missouri State 70-68. Belmont beats Sanford 79-56. Kent State beats New Mexico State 73-63. Clemson beats Georgia Tech 79-66. Number 3, Houston beats McNeese 83-44. Number 7, Texas beats Louisiana 100-72. Tarleton beats Hustill 114-56. Southeast Louisiana beats Southern 86-2. Memphis beats Alabama State 83-61. Tulane beats Miss Valley State 84-63. SIU Edwardsville beats St. Louis 69-67. LSU beats East Tennessee State 72-68. Evansville beats Bellarmine 73-61. Florida State beats Notre Dame 73-72. St. Mary's beats Wyoming 66-54. Ohio State beats Maine 95-61. Number 1, Purdue beats New Orleans 74-53. Number 10, Arkansas beats UNC Asheville 85-51. Number 20, TCU beats Utah 75-71. Number 23, Auburn beats Washington 84-61. Florida beats Sac State 59-49. UTEP beats NCAT 75-62. San Fran beats number 25, Arizona State 97-60. Oregon State beats Denver 57-52. Loyola Marymount beats Tulsa 76-64. Long Beach State over Idaho 82-75, and USC beats Colorado State 73-64. All right, today's games, 11:30 you have Old Westbury, Hope Street can skip. Holy Cross, Sacred Heart. My line is Sacred Heart by 11. And we got, let's see here, Sacred Heart's definitely favored, and it's by 6.5. I'll lay the points. I didn't do totals for college today. I apologize. Maybe tomorrow if we have time. 12 o'clock, Towson, Bryant. My line is Towson 3.5. And it's really Bryant by a half. It's technically a pick 'em. Give me Towson plus the half at minus 105. Or the money line at minus 104. VMI Fordham. My line is Fordham 17, and it's 13 FLA. Northern Illinois and Indiana State at 1. My line's Indiana State by 12.5. And 17.5. Give me Northern Illinois getting the points. Siena American, I have a pick'em, and it's essentially a pick'em. American's favored by a half. Total's 131.5. I'll take the over. Purchase LIU, we can skip. Chicago State, Minnesota. My line's Minnesota by 21 and 3/4, and it's 12.5. I'll lay the points. That's low. 2 o'clock, the North Florida Bethune. My line is North Florida by 8.25, and it is 5.5. I'll lay the points. Cornell Colgate. My line is Colgate 2.25, and it's 3.5. Total's 158.5. I'll take the under. I think that's low. Or I'm sorry, I think that's high. Greensboro and Eastern Kentucky. My line is Greensboro by 4, and it's 3.5. Total's 135.5. I'll take the over. Jackson State and Stephen F. Austin at 3 o'clock. My line is Stephen F. Austin by 18.75, and it is 12.5. I'll lay it. Kentucky Christian Charleston Southern, we can skip. Little Rock, Arkansas State. My line's Arkansas State by 1.25, and it's 5.5. Give me Little Rock in the points. Lindenwood, Utah Tech. Utah Tech's a 6-point favorite in my books, and it's 13.5. Give me Lindenwood getting the points. That's a lot. Iona SMU on ESPNU. The Diamond Head Classic from Honolulu. My line's Iona by 9, and it is 9.5. Totals 141.5. Over. Gwinnett Mercy Wagner. We can skip. Wait a second, I'm confused. Did they move a game? Or is there a game that was added I'm unaware of? Oh, I guess they moved the start time. San Diego State and Cal State Northridge. My line is San Diego by 18.5, and it's 4.5. I'm laying the points. That's low. Gwinnett, Mercy, Wagner. We can skip Alabama A&M and Vanderbilt. Yeah, they moved a lot of game times around. That's weird. My line is Vanderbilt by 21.25. And it's 18.5. I'll lay it with Vanderbilt. Big Ten Network, we have Quinnipiac and Penn State. My line is Penn State by 7.75, and it is 14.5. I'll take Quinnipiac again. The points. That's a lot of points. 5 o'clock, Boise State and Santa Clara. Now we're kind of back in order. So I guess they moved some start times around. My line is Boise by 1.5, and it is exactly that. Total is 137.5. I'll take the over. Portland and UC Riverside. My line is Portland by 7.5, and it is 1.5. I'll lay the points. Akron Bradley. My line is Bradley by 1.75, and it's 5.5. I'll take Akron getting the points. ESPNU from Honolulu, Seattle, Utah State, Diamond Head. My line is Utah State by 8.25, and it's 10.5. Give me Seattle getting the points. Stony Brook and West Virginia. My line is West Virginia by 22.75. It's 27.5. Give me Stony Brook getting the points. That's a lot of points for the Mountaineers, even at home. 6:30 Big Ten Network, St. Peter's, Maryland. My line is 16.5 in favor of Maryland, and it is 23. Give me St. Peter's getting the points. ESPN2, Harvard at number 4, Kansas. My line is Kansas by 23.5. And it is 21.5, so I'm going to lay it with Kansas. Medgar Evers in St. Fran, Brooklyn. We can skip Wright State and Miami of Ohio. My line's Miami of Ohio by 3.25, and we got Wright by 2.5. Give me Miami of Ohio getting the 2.5 and plus 114 the win. Drexel Fairfield. I don't know what happened to that game. Guess the start time got moved. Oh, it got postponed. So Gucci and Loyola, Maryland, we can skip. NJIT, South Florida. My line is South Florida by 12.5, and it's 13.5. The total for this game is 126.5. I'll take the over. Louisville, NC State on the ACC network. My line is NC State by a whopping 13.25. And 17.5. Give me Louisville getting the points. Central Connecticut and St. Joe's. My line is St. Joe's by 19.75. And it's 11.5. I'll lay the points. Marist Rider. My line is Rider by 11.25, and it's 8. I'll lay the points. Queens Fairleigh Dickinson. My line is Queens by 4.5, and it is 5.5. Total is 155.5. That's high. Give me the under. And Yale Monmouth. My line is Yale by 9.25. It's 13.5. Give me Monmouth getting the points at home. The SEC Network, Western Kentucky and South Carolina. My line is Western by 1 3/4. It's 2.5. Totals 132.5. I'll take the over. Drexel, Fairfield postponed. Milwaukee, Rhode Island canceled. 7:30. Sun Bowl Invitational from El Paso. New Mexico State and NCAT. Mine's New Mexico State by 8.5, and it is I don't see a lineup yet for this line. All right, so here we go. Mexico State by 11 is the line. So give me NCAT getting the points. Charlotte, UAB. My line's UAB by 8 1/4, and it is 11.5. Give me Charlotte getting the points. Morgan State at number 5, Arizona, 8 o'clock on the Pac-12 Network. My line's Arizona by 31 3/4, and it's 29.5. I'll lay the points. Texas Southern and Wichita State. My line's Wichita by 16. It's 12.5. I'll lay it. North Texas UTSA. My line is North Texas by 7.5. It's 12.5. Give me UTSA getting the points. That's a lot of points. Butler Creighton. My line is Creighton by 1/4, and it is 8.5. Oh my God. Give me Butler getting the points. That is a lot. And they're plus 285 to win outright for what that's worth. Next up, Sam Houston, Missouri State canceled, by the way. 9 o'clock on the SEC Network, number 16, Illinois at Missouri from the Enterprise Center in St. Louis. My line is Illinois by 4, and it's 6.5. Give me Missouri getting the 6.5. Hartford, San Francisco. My line is San Francisco by a whopping 26.5. And it's 26.5. That's so weird. Total's 137.5. Let's go with the over. Weber State, BYU. My line's BYU by 17 3/4. It's 12.5. I'll lay it. ESPN 2, Diamond Head, George Washington, and Washington State. My line is Wazoo by 3 1/4, and it's 11.5. Give me George Washington getting the points. That's a lot of points. 9:30 Sun Bowl Invitational, Kent State, UTEP. My line's Kent State by 4 1/4. And it is 7. Kent by 7. Give me UTEP getting the points at home in their event. 10 o'clock, Portland State, Cal Baptist. My line is Cal Baptist by 9 3/4. And it's 8.5. Totals 142.5. I'll take the under. Southern Miss and UNLV. My line's UNLV by 14 1/4. It's 8.5. I'll lay the points. Loyola Chicago, Stanford on the Pac-12 Network from Santa Cruz. My line is Loyola by 2 1/4. And it is Stanford 6.5. Give me Loyola plus 6.5 and plus 205 to win. And last but not least, Pepperdine, Hawaii. Diamond Head Classic on ESPN 2. My line's Hawaii by 2 1/4. And it's 4.5. Give me Pepperdine getting the 4.5. I can't believe I'm going against Hawaii in their own building. All right, NBA. We'll go over the results from yesterday and look ahead to only 2 games tonight in the NBA. Very small window because everybody's playing tomorrow because everyone has Christmas Eve off. So it makes sense. Cavs over the Bucks, 114-106. Sixers over the Pistons, 113-93. So their winning streak goes to 6. Bulls over the Hawks, 110-108. Pacers over the Celtics, 117-112. Nets over the Warriors, 143-113. As their winning streak goes to 7 in a row. Raptors over the Knicks, 113-106. As the Knicks winning streak comes to an end at 8. Magic over the Rockets, 116-110. Mavs over the Timberwolves, 104-99. Thunder over the Blazers, 101-98. Kings over the Lakers, 134-120. And the Clippers over the Hornets, 126-105. 2 games, 8 o'clock, Spurs, Pelicans from New Orleans. No Zion, no Ingram. If there's going to be a game to rest them, it's tonight. My line is Pelicans by 7 1/4, total 229 and 4/5. And we got 8.5 and 228. So, like a 1 1/4 edge on the Spurs. An almost 2-point edge on the over. So the over is going to be the pick, and I think it's safer. And 9 o'clock on NBA TV, Wizards Jazz. Minus Jazz by 2 3/4, total 228 3/5, and it's 6.5 and 229.5. I'm going to take the Wizards getting the 6.5. That's a lot of points. All right, now move on to the NHL. We'll recap the games from yesterday and look ahead to the games being played tonight. I think tonight's a busy window. Red Wings over the Lightning 7-4. Devils over the Panthers 4-2. Avs over the Habs 2-1 in OT on a game winner by Mikko Rantanen. Preds over the Blackhawks 4-2. Oilers over the Stars 6-3. Wild over the Ducks 4-1. And the Golden Knights over the Coyotes 5-2. All right, 2 o'clock, you have the Flyers and the Maple Leafs. Leafs minus 350. Flyers plus 275. Over under 6. Overs minus 112. Unders minus 108. Flyers plus 1.5 is plus 118. Leafs minus 1.5 is minus 144. I like the over. And that's such an early game in Toronto at Scotiabank Arena. 7 o'clock, you have the Jets and the Bruins. Bruins minus 245. Jets plus 198. Over under 6. Overs minus 114. Unders minus 106. Jets plus 1.5 is minus 132. Bruins minus 1.5 is plus 108. I like the over. Islanders Rangers from the Garden. I thought this game was at the Islanders. I was wrong. Rangers minus 166. Isles plus 138. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 108. Unders minus 112. Isles plus 1.5 is minus 194. Rangers minus 1.5 is plus 156. I like the under. I think that it's an underplay. Goalies will play well. Caps Sens. Caps minus 120 cents, even money, over under 6.5. Overs minus 105. Unders minus 115. Caps minus 1.5 is plus 198 cents. Plus 1.5 is minus 250. I'm going to go with the Caps in regulation at plus 130. Canes Pens. Pens minus 125. Canes plus 104. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 114. Unders minus 106. Canes plus 1.5 is minus 250. Pens minus 1.5 is plus 198. I like the over. I think the Pens bounce back here, and I like this over. Kraken Canucks at 10 o'clock. Kraken minus 126. Canucks plus 105. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 105. Unders minus 115. Kraken minus 1.5 is plus 186. Canucks plus 1.5 is minus 235. I like the under in this one, too. 10:30, Flames Kings. Flames minus 114, Kings minus 105, over under 6, overs minus 106, unders minus 114. Flames minus 1.5 is plus 210. Kings plus 1.5 is minus 265. Tough one. I'm going to take the Kings as a slight home dog at minus 105. And last but not least, Wild Sharks. Wild minus 176, Sharks plus 146, over under 6.5, overs plus 110, unders minus 134. Wild minus 1.5 is plus 152. Sharks plus 1.5 is minus 188. For this one, I'm going to go with the over at plus money. I like that a lot. All right, Thursday Night Football tonight. We have the Jets hosting the Jaguars. The top two picks in the 2021 draft. One of them has been good. The other's been terrible. We know who's who. My projections is the Jets by 4.5, total 43 and a 10th, and it is Jets by 1.5 and the total 37.5. I like the over. Even though it is Zach Wilson, the Jet defense is kind of banged up, and the Jags defense is missing Trayvon Walker, and I think that will result in an over. So I like same game parlay, Jets and over would be fun. But for this, I'm going to go with over 37.5 for this game. All right, now move on to the news and notes for today. We're going to start the NFL Pro Bowl rosters. which came out last night. We'll go through the AFC and the NFC. So the AFC, quarterbacks Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes of the Bills, Bengals, and Chiefs, respectively. There's never going to be a world where it's not going to be those three guys. This is going to be the next decade plus. Wide receivers, Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs, and Tyreek Hill. All deserving. Running backs, Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs. I don't know about Nick Chubb, though. I know he's been good, but, Fullback, Patrick Ricard of Baltimore. Tight ends, Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce. Tackles, Teron Armstead, Orlando Brown, and Laramie Tunsil. Armstead's been hurt a lot, but I understand Miami having success, so I want to reward that. Guards, Joel Bitonio, Quentin Nelson, and Joe Thuney. In centers, Creed Humphrey and Mitch Morse. On the defensive side of the ball, the ends, Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, and Trey Hendrickson. Interior linemen, Chris Jones, Jeffrey Simmons, and Quinnen Williams. Outside linebackers, Matt Judon, Khalil Mack, and TJ Watt. Inside and middle linebackers, CJ Mosley and Roquan Smith. Cornerbacks, Sauce Gardner, Xavier Howard, Marlon Humphrey, and Pat Surtain. Free safety, Minkah Fitzpatrick. And strong safeties, Derwin James and Jordan Poyer. Special teams, punter, Tommy Townsend of the Chiefs. Kicker, Justin Tucker of the Ravens. Long snapper, Morgan Cox of the Titans. Return specialist, Devin Duvernay of the Ravens. And special teamer, Justin Hardy of the Jets. The NFC, offense, quarterbacks, Kirk Cousins, Jalen Hurts, Geno Smith. Probably the right three quarterbacks, because Geno Smith's had a career resurgence, and it's obviously Hurts MVP favorite and Cousins overachieving Vikings. That makes a lot of sense. Well, I shouldn't really say overachieving. That's a little bit of an insult to Kirk Cousins in a way, but I think they have a better record than we expected, so that's what I mean by that. Wide receivers, A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, C.D. Lamb, Terry McLaurin. So that's an interesting group. Running backs, Saquon Barkley, Tony Pollard, Miles Sanders. All NFC East running backs, too. I think Brian Robinson of Washington arguably was snubbed. That's the one I'm looking at And they put his teammate McLaurin in there instead. Fullback Kyle Juszczyk of the Niners. Tight ends, TJ Hawkinson and George Kittle. Tackles, Lane Johnson, Trent Williams, and Tristan Wirfs. Guards, Landon Dickerson, Chris Lindstrom, and Zach Martin. And centers, Jason Kelce and Frank Ragnow. Defense. So the ends, you have Nick Bosa, Brian Burns, DeMarcus Lawrence. Interior linemen, Jonathan Allen, Aaron Donald, and Dexter Lawrence. Outside linebackers, Micah Parsons, Hassan Reddick, and Zadarius Smith. Inside linebackers, Demario Davis and Fred Warner. Cornerbacks, Jair Alexander, Trayvon Diggs, Darius Slay, and Tariq Woolen. Free safety, Quandre Diggs. And strong safeties Butta Baker and Talanoa Hufunga. Special teams, punter Trez Way of Washington, kicker Jason Myers of the Seahawks, long snapper Andrew DePaola of Minnesota, return specialist Cavante Turpin of Dallas, and special teamer Jeremy Reeves of the Commanders. So, interesting roster. I gave out my biggest snub. That's Brian Robinson of Washington. And somebody that I don't think deserved the Pro Bowl nod. I guess it's just me, like, with players that got hurt or, like, a player that's more deserving at that position. Like, I would have put Brian Robinson in instead of Miles Sanders. Although Miles Sanders has had a good season. Christian McCaffrey obviously was another snub. I didn't even think about that. Jared Goff, you could argue, was snubbed. So it's interesting, like, from the NFC and who, like, are snubs. I mean, the AFC's the more interesting conference. I feel like there were definitely more snubs in the NFC than the AFC. So, yeah, very interesting. Sad news. Former Denver Broncos running back Ronnie Hillman had passed away last night after a battle with liver cancer. That's just awful news. And he obviously was on that team that won the Super Bowl. 31 years old. And just awful news to hear this morning. And more news comes out is that the NFL confirms the YouTube deal as they announced a multi-year agreement with Google and company for exclusive rights to the NFL Sunday Ticket. That's crazy. So that is something I talked about on the show yesterday in that likelihood, and it happened. Ryan Tannehill's season very likely over. As the team fights to maintain its playoff spot. Oof. I wonder if Jacksonville's like the favorite to win that division again. Matt Ryan benched for a second time this season as Nick Foles will start on Monday night against the Chargers. Baseball, obviously, we talked about it yesterday. Aaron Judge named the 16th captain in Yankees franchise history, first since Derek Jeter. Well deserved. And Hal Steinbrenner says the Yankees are not done yet, as they'll be still active. He better put his money where his mouth is. Just saying. Because he's being upstaged by Steve Cohen. I mean, every owner's being upstaged by Steve Cohen. But not more than the Yankees because of the same city. Scott Boras says that the Giants did not continue negotiations after canceling yesterday's presser. And Farhan Zaidi confirms deal fell apart due to difference of opinion on physical. And the Giants have interest in Michael Conforto, as he missed last year with a shoulder injury. Donovan Mitchell dreamt that he said that he dreamt that Carlos Correa was a Met. He said he dreamt it on, the tweet was November 15th of last year. He says, I had a dream we got Carlos Correa to the Mets. So it's funny that he said what he said, but the Jeter comment is OT. So, yeah, 1 year early he dreamt that. That's so weird. So basketball, the Knicks lose a 2025 second-round draft pick after early free agency discussions with Jalen Brunson. At least it's not a first-round pick, but that's not great for the organization. Kevin Durant wanted the Knicks on Christmas as he takes blame for the Nets not having a Christmas game, and rightfully so, because everybody thought he was going to be traded. So, of course, KD took the blame. But the Knicks-Sixers game at the Garden is going to be really, really good, and the whole slate's going to be great. Memphis, Golden State, Lakers, Dallas. You have LeBron against Luka. Then you have Celtics, Bucks, so second-round rematch. And then the nightcap, I think, is Pelicans, Nuggets. So that's Zion against Jokic. So that's going to be a lot of fun. The Lakers want a second opinion with Anthony Davis, his foot injury. He's currently not in a boot. Tyrese Halliburton in response to Wally Szczerbiak after Szczerbiak calls him a wannabe all-star. Yikes. DeAndre Ayton and his teammates were in an argument in a huddle in the game against the Wizards a few nights ago. Damian Lillard retweets a take on the refs as Lillard retweeted a fan asking why the refs in OKC hate Portland. The 2023 Basketball Hall of Fame, the candidates are out. Some big names in there. You got Dwayne Wade, you have Dirk, Pau Gasol. There's some big names in there. So, that's really exciting. And then Tony Parker as well. So that's a literally great players from that era. Signing day was yesterday. So 2022 number 1 recruit Travis Hunter will follow Deion Sanders to Colorado. That's no surprise. Mateo Ugalele picks Oregon over Ohio State and USC. And Oregon also got 5-star safety Peyton Bowen, as he was supposed to be going to Notre Dame. And then all hell broke loose at the end of the Devils-Panthers game after Thomas Tatar put in the empty netter to seal the Devils' win. All right, last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. Yesterday's was a win. There's one that really jumped out at me. It was a Big East game. A team that I think is overrated in terms of where they were ranked in the preseason polls. A huge favorite against a team that isn't that bad. And I am talking about the Butler Bulldogs, as they are getting 8.5 points against the overrated Creighton Blue Jays. I'm really a half unit on it. I feel pretty good about this one. So Butler plus 8.5 at Creighton for my best bet of the day. All right, that's it for the show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything and looking ahead to everything tomorrow. And obviously, it's going to be a big show because how the year is playing out, we have Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Saturday, Sunday, so we'll just have like a regular week. But it's going to be a big show tomorrow. We'll preview and pick the NBA Christmas slate. That's going to be so much fun. I love picking those games every year. But the projections are going to be a little bit complicated because assuming like if somebody wins or if somebody loses, and then it gets a little crazy after that. So that's going to be interesting. So I hope you guys have a great day, everyone.